Beloved chosen one. Stop scrolling. This is not an accident. The moment you opened this message, heaven paused everything to locate you. Yes, you who have been hidden in plain sight. You who have survived battles that would have killed others. You are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You were never made to blend in. And this moment confirms it. There is a deployment taking place right now in the spirit. This is a divine dispatch, not a digital coincidence. The angels of the Most High have been released on your behalf. Listen. You can feel the weight of this moment, the stirring, the urgency, the sudden sense that something greater is moving through time and eternity to reach you. Because heaven sees you. You have felt isolated, overlooked, even punished for being different. You have cried silently behind closed doors. You've questioned your worth in rooms that were too small for your calling. But now, God is sending confirmation. You are not fighting alone. Angels have been deployed. Your tears summoned them. Your prayers stirred heaven's throne. And your destiny triggered divine movement. This is a holy interruption. This isn't emotion. It's spiritual warfare disguised as a moment online. There's a shaking in the air around you. Your name is echoing in places your feet haven't reached yet. Because you are chosen. Before you were born, heaven carved your name into the scroll of purpose. The enemy saw your potential early. That's why the attacks came when you were still innocent. But even then, heaven had a strategy. You didn't survive by accident. You were carried through for this. You were never meant to blend in. Chosen one. You were meant to silence generational curses. Your light makes hell nervous before you speak. The warfare confirms your assignment. Let this moment awaken you. You were sent as a disruptor. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. You are not rejected. You are being rerouted. God has released angels, not just to defend, but to position you. They're preparing a table before you in the presence of your enemies. And yes, angels are real. Right now, they are on assignment for you. Don't second-guess the weight you carry. You feel misunderstood because you were never meant to be understood by everyone. But now the hiding is ending. The unveiling has begun. You're being drawn into alignment for the shift to come. There are angelic forces walking through your walls, even now silent. Holy, precise. They're removing traps, silencing lies, clearing paths. You didn't beg for this, it was written. You are not behind. You are right on time. You feel urgency because the 19-minute window is open just long enough for a heart ready to receive. This is not fear, it is holy pressure. Your spirit is recognizing what your mind cannot explain. God sent this message to say, you are not crazy. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. And chosen ones do not walk alone. Heaven's armies surround you now. You may not see wings or hear the whispers, but they are there hovering, watching, warring. The atmosphere is thick with divine presence, and if you could see it, you would fall in awe. As declared in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11 says, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." That promise is alive now. It surrounds you now. It covers you now. The deployment was triggered by divine timing. Your name was marked. So pause and receive. This is more than a video. It is a divine altar. It is a moment heaven placed in your hands. What you do now matters. Don't let it pass like every other message. Wake up to what is happening. If your spirit feels the pull, that's not emotion. That is encounter. That is a prophetic appointment. That is confirmation that the angels have found you. Do not be afraid. Be surrender. Be ready. Now, beloved, chosen one, lock this moment in. Declare that you've heard. Let the hosts of heaven see your response. Let the Spirit witness your agreement. Comment the number 777 below as a prophetic act. Show the darkness that you still stand. Show heaven that you are ready. You are not alone. You never were. The reason you've been under such intense attack lately is not because you're weak, it's because you're standing at the edge of transformation. You're not being punished. You're being pressed into purpose. The weight that's rested on your shoulders, the isolation, the silence, the heaviness, it's not random. It's spiritual warfare. Because your next step is not small. What you're about to walk into is not natural. It is supernatural. And the enemy always fights what he fears. Hell doesn't waste bullets. You've been targeted not because you're broken, but because you're effective. The attacks increased because your obedience began unlocking doors in the unseen realm. Every time you refused to quit, every time you stood back up, you triggered movement in heaven, and the darkness noticed. You were born to shift atmospheres. There is oil on your life that provokes opposition because it carries glory. That is why people turned on you. That is why your name was misunderstood. That is why you felt like you were walking through shadows. Even the shadows are speaking. They're testifying that you are on the brink of change. When someone is about to rise from survival to dominion, the enemy multiplies distractions and confusion. He whispers lies that make you question what God clearly said. You've heard them. You're not ready. 1. Nothing is going to change. 1. If you were really chosen, why are you still stuck? Lies. All of it. Because if you weren't chosen, hell wouldn't be trembling. And right now, it is. You're not losing your mind. You're shedding the old version of it. You're walking out of survival. As you obey even in exhaustion, heaven is building a runway beneath your feet. You've prayed for a sign, but you already are the sign. Your life is proof that grace outruns guilt. You're not who you were even months ago. That's why the warfare has shifted. You're about to level up, and pressure confirms it. Yes, God allows pressure, not to crush, but to consecrate. The fire is not to burn you, it's to remove what can't go with you. That heaviness, it's not defeat. It's the stretching of your mantle. Your anointing is growing. Your calling is sharpening. And it terrifies hell. The resistance you feel is not a closed door, it's a spiritual checkpoint. You're not disqualified. You're being verified. There's power in showing up when exhausted, power in praising when nothing looks promising. Heaven recognizes the one who says, God, I don't feel it, but I'll obey anyway. That's you. You showed up when others walked away. You held your tongue when you could have fought back. You gave when your hands were empty. You still bent the knee when the answer hadn't come. And heaven noticed. Things are shifting because of obedience you sowed in secret. Prayers, you whispered in private, are moving things in rooms you've not entered yet. It may feel like nothing's happening, but in truth, everything is changing. Your name has come up in heaven's courts. Your next season has already been ruled in your favor. You are stepping into divine compensation, not because you earned it, but because you endured. The attacks proved your endurance. The silence proved your discipline. The rejection proved your resilience. Don't misread this wilderness season. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You had to be hidden. You had to be stretched. You had to be emptied. Now the moment is shifting. You're about to walk into rooms your name entered before you. You're about to receive what your obedience unlocked. You're about to understand why the enemy fought so hard. But it didn't work. You're still here. You're still listening. You're still ready. You may be tired, but you're aligned. You may not see everything yet, but you can sense it. Something is coming. And it's not waiting on good deeds, waiting on your full yes. So give it. Surrender with your life, your thoughts, your posture. Heaven already said yes to you. The attacks weren't the end. They were the alarm. The pressure wasn't defeat. It was divine push. The resistance wasn't rejection. It was confirmation. As Paul reminds us in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." You weren't wrestling people. You were disrupting darkness. And now the warfare must bow, because heaven has ruled in your favor. You're still here. That alone proves you're chosen. You have been marked since birth, and hell knew it before you did. That's why the fight started early, before you could speak in full sentences. You were already facing attacks meant for someone with a mantle, before you had the language to pray. Your life was already making the enemy nervous. Why? Because he saw the light in you, that unshakable core, that spiritual DNA that could not be duplicated. You were born carrying evidence of divine purpose. The rejection started young. The misunderstandings, the moments you were singled out without reason, the loneliness that never made sense. It wasn't random. It was resistance sent by darkness, because your calling could not be ignored even in childhood. You didn't just grow up. You survived growing up, and that survival alone was a sign that you were set apart. You walked through homes where your spirit didn't feel safe. You faced voices that tried to shut you down before you had a chance to grow. You were met with betrayal before you knew how to defend yourself. But through it all, God preserved the inner flame, the part of you that still hopes, still believes, still listens, still loves. The enemy tried to bury you in silence, but silence cannot suffocate a soul chosen by God. He tried to turn your pain into bitterness, but your heart somehow still leans toward healing. You should have become hardened. You should have given up. But every time darkness pressed in, you endured. And that endurance didn't come from you, it came from the one who marked you. Chosen one. The very battles you faced were prophetic. Each one revealed how afraid the enemy was of your becoming. That's why he sent rejection after rejection. He thought isolation would destroy you, but God used it to reveal you. You never fit in. Not because you were broken, but because you were designed to stand out. There was no room for compromise in your story. You were made to lead, to carry glory, to bear burdens that most people would crumble under. And yes, you've asked why it had to be you, why you've had to carry so much weight with so little support. But heaven saw what you couldn't. You were trusted with pressure because you've been built for purpose. And though you've walked through hell's hallway more than once, you never stopped moving. You didn't understand it then, But you were training in silence, learning to hear God in the dark, developing spiritual instincts, building discernment. While others ran from battle, you stayed, you stood, you wrestled with invisible wars no one saw. And those invisible wars built an unshakable warrior inside of you. You carry spiritual weight now, whether you see it or not. When you enter rooms, the atmosphere shifts. People notice it before you speak. Some resent it. Some admire it. Some fear it. But all of them feel it. You disrupt comfort zones without trying. You confront darkness without speaking, because you were born with light in your lungs, and that light terrifies hell. You are not ordinary. You never were. Even your tears have authority. Even your sighs are collected by heaven. You carry a mantle. And that mantle is why you've been a magnet for both miracles and attacks. That's why some people are drawn to you, while others betray you. It's not personal, it's spiritual. You've been walking through fire, but not one flame has consumed you. You've been walking through betrayal, but your heart remains alive. You've been walking through disappointment, but your hope keeps rising again and again, because something eternal is at work in you. As we read in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2 says, "When you walk through fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." You've lived this verse. You've endured the heat, but you're still here unburned, unbroken, unshaken. That alone is your evidence. And this is what the enemy fears most, not your perfection, but your persistence, your ability to keep moving forward even when everything is falling apart, your ability to still pray, still believe, still say, "God, I trust you," when nothing makes sense. Chosen one, your scars are sacred. They are proof that the fire touched you, but didn't consume you. You were built different, grace-covered, spirit-sealed, heaven-backed. If your soul bears witness right now, if you're thinking, "This is me," then don't just sit in silence. Type in the comments, "I survived it." This is not just a comment, it's a declaration. When you type those words, you're not speaking to the algorithm. You're speaking to your past. You're speaking to every lie that tried to label you. You're announcing to every spiritual force in the unseen realm that what tried to destroy you failed. You're sealing what heaven already knows. You made it. And not just barely, you made it with purpose, still intact. Let the spirit world take notice. Let your old wounds hear your voice. Let every voice that whispered, "You won't make it," be silenced. I survived it. Oh, because you did. Because you're still here. Because survival was never the end, goal becoming was. And now, your becoming begins. You've walked through fire. Chosen Onand. You came out untouched by the flames. Not because you were strong, but because you were kept. You've endured pain that should have broken your mind. Seasons so dry they cracked your spirit. Moments so quiet they made you question if heaven had forgotten you. But you're still here, still breathing, still marked. That is not a small thing. What you've survived isn't normal. Most wouldn't have made it, but you did. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because the hand of the Almighty never left you, not for a moment. There were times you felt like the only one walking through darkness, like your cries were hitting a ceiling, like your prayers were echoing in silence. But God was present even in the quiet. What felt like abandonment was actually refinement. You were never being punished, you were being prepared. God wasn't just watching you, He was working in you. The fire you walked through, it wasn't meant to kill you. It was meant to reveal you, to burn off what couldn't come with you, to strip you of everything false so that only the pure would remain. That's what you are now, purified, tested, proven. You've cried prayers no one heard, forgiven things no one apologized for, carried burdens no one acknowledged. And through it all, you stayed soft. You didn't let pain harden you. You didn't let betrayal define you. You chose love when bitterness would have made more sense. That is not weakness, that is divine strength. You're not walking in pride. You're walking with weight. You've earned a kind of spiritual authority that can't be faked, the kind that comes only through fire. And when you enter a room, you don't have to say a word, your presence says it for you, because survivors carry a sound, and yours is getting louder. People think you're quiet, but they don't know what it cost you to stay sane, to stay loving, to stay faithful. God saw it all. He saw you keep showing up when you had nothing left. He saw you hold on to hope by a thread. He saw the battle in your mind and how you still lifted your hands. That worship in the wilderness, it shook heaven. That praise in your prison, it opened unseen gates. And now, the fire is fading. The smoke is lifting. The season is shifting. You didn't just make it out. You grew through it. And you carry something now that can't be taken away. You walk differently. Speak differently. Discern more clearly. Love more deeply. Because fire rewires a soul. You don't fear it anymore. You understand it now. You know what it's like to feel the flames and still trust God. You know what it's like to walk through things that should have destroyed you and come out with deeper vision instead. This was never about survival. It was about becoming. The fire taught you how to stand when nothing was left to lean on. It taught you how to hear God without noise. It taught you how to walk by faith, not sight, not feelings, not feedback. And now, what you carry is not theory. It's proof. You are the evidence. Your scars are sacred. They don't disqualify you, they validate you. They say, I've been there, and I made it out with God still intact in me. You carry wisdom that wasn't learned, it was lived. You carry glory that came at a cost. You carry oil that was pressed out of you, drop by drop. That's why you're still standing. That's why the enemy failed. That's why the fire didn't consume you, confirmed you. Because heaven never lost track of you. You didn't walk through the fire alone. Angels were stationed around you. Grace was guarding your mind. The Spirit was interceding when your words fell short. You were never forsaken, not once. Even when you didn't feel Him. God was carrying you. As it is written in the first letter of Peter, chapter 1, verses 7 says, these trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. And now, chosen one, you shine, not with spotlight, but with refined purpose, not with applause, but with anointing, not because it was easy, but because it was eternal. You've walked through fire and come forth as gold. There is a presence surrounding you now. Not imagination, not coincidence. A holy army has been deployed, warring angels, divine reinforcements, released with your name in their command. You are not alone. Chosen one, not for one moment. Even now, the atmosphere around you is shifting. The room you're in may look the same, but spiritually, it's different. Angels have entered. The unseen has been activated. You are not abandoned, you are backed. Heaven has issued a decree on your behalf. Send the angels. They are not here for decoration. They are here for war. Assigned to guard your calling. Assigned to silence the voices of fear. Assigned to intercept every plan sent to destroy you. Some of the pressure you've felt lately isn't from opposition, it's from divine movement. The battle around you intensified because heaven is near. Your obedience has triggered angelic deployment. The enemy wanted you to think you were losing, but what you're really experiencing is spiritual assistance you've never walked in before. You are royalty in the spirit. You carry weight. You are sealed for something greater. That's why the warfare intensified. That's why the atmosphere got heavy. Because the light inside you has started to shine through, and darkness reacts violently to light. It can't silence. Chosen one. Hear this. Angels have been assigned to your steps, to protect your future, to surround your home, to guard your name. You prayed, and heaven heard. You cried, and God responded. You obeyed, and angels moved. This is not a random moment. This is heaven's timing. You are not just protected, you are partnered with heaven. And right now, you're stepping into angelic covering you didn't even know was waiting for you. They are not watching from afar, they are beside you now. They walk with you, war for you, and go ahead of you. This deployment is not delayed, it is divine. Right on time, right on target. Your prayers didn't just echo, they activated. Your surrender became a signal, and the hosts of heaven responded with force. These aren't soft-winged stories from childhood books. These are divine warriors. Swords drawn, armor glowing, assigned by the throne of God to you. Angels don't show up for the passive. They show up for the chosen. And you've proven yourself in private. Heaven saw, heaven answered. The fear that chased you, it's now being chased down. The attack that tried to silence you, it's being silenced. The heaviness, it's lifting because you're not carrying this alone anymore. You've reached the moment where angelic strategy meets human surrender. Every step you take now is shadowed by something holy. You are not being followed by fear, you're being followed by fire. And that fire does not retreat. As declared in the book of Isaiah 54, verse 17 says, No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This isn't poetry. This is power. The angels are enforcing this word over your life. Every assignment of hell that was spoken over your mind, your finances, your family, it is being overruled by a higher court. The season of isolation is over. The era of angelic reinforcement has begun, and now, the ones who once questioned your calling will be the first to witness your rising. So walk boldly, pray fearlessly, move with divine confidence. Because angels don't follow the unassigned, they follow those who are marked. And you are marked. God has trusted you with the oil. He has preserved you for this hour. And now that you've survived the crushing, you're stepping into the covering. Chosen one. Let this truth anchor you. You are surrounded. This shift is not emotional, it is eternal. This covering is not temporary, it is prophetic. And this protection is not optional, it is ordered. Now is not the time to shrink back. Now is not the time to doubt what you carry. You've been backed by the throne itself. And if this message has found you in the exact moment you needed it, don't keep it to yourself. Like this word, so it reaches someone else fighting in silence. Share it to awaken the warriors who've forgotten they're covered. Subscribe so you don't miss what heaven is about to release next. This is not just a message. It is a moment, a divine notification, a spiritual confirmation, an angelic alignment. You are not unprotected. You are not uncovered. You are not alone. Heaven has surrounded you, and the angels have been deployed. This is not just a season, it's a window, and that window is open now. Heaven is counting. The clock in the spirit has started ticking, and what happens in these next moments is not casual, it is eternal. You are standing in a divine intersection. What you do now matters. God has not brought you this far to tease you. He didn't preserve you through the storm just to leave you standing in confusion. He brought you here, to this exact moment, because there is an opening, a divine portal of mercy hovering over your life, and it won't stay open forever. This is not to bring fear. This is to awaken urgency, because too often, the chosen ones confuse delay with divine patience. But delay is not obedience. It's disobedience in slow motion. And heaven doesn't play by earth's timeline. Heaven is holy. Heaven is sovereign. Heaven moves on obedience, not opinion. And right now, obedience is the key that unlocks everything. You felt it. That tug in your chest. That stirring that won't let you rest. That pressure that feels bigger than your surroundings. It's not anxiety. It's activation. Your spirit is hearing what your natural ears can't fully translate yet. Move now, because mercy is extended, but mercy is not endless. God is patient, but He is not passive. There are moments when He leans in and says, "Now is the time. Decide." Not, and you are in that moment. This is not hype. This is holy alignment. There are angelic assignments that are activated not by emotion, but by agreement. What you choose in this divine window will echo into the next season of your life. You can feel it. Your comfort is colliding with your calling. You've been circling the same mountain long enough. You've been praying for a shift. But the shift is waiting on your surrender. There are breakthroughs that don't require more effort, just a yes. There are doors that don't respond to striving, but swing open when you obey. God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for response. Don't harden your heart now. Don't reason yourself out of the moment. Don't explain away what your spirit knows is divine, because the door won't stay open forever. In the Bible, we see how doors open by obedience and how they close without warning. Noah didn't wait until it rained to build the ark. Esther didn't wait until it was safe to speak. Peter didn't wait until the storm calmed to step onto the water. They obeyed when it didn't make sense, and that's what preserved them. You are being asked to do the same. This is not about public action. This is about private surrender. Heaven is not looking for a performance. Heaven is looking for posture. And the posture God is calling you into now is surrender. Surrender the fear. Surrender the timeline. Surrender the illusion that you need more proof before you obey. God already gave you what you need. Confirmation through this word. Signs through the warfare. Evidence through your survival. You've already heard from Him. The question is, will you respond? There's a reason the spiritual realm feels intense right now. Because this is not business as usual. Something is shifting. Something is being weighed. The enemy knows it. Heaven knows it. Your soul knows it. That's why the tension has increased, because the decision is close. And your yes will not just affect youth, will affect generations. Others are tied to your obedience. There are chains you were born to break. Legacies you were born to rebuild. Altars you were born to tear down. And all of it is tied to your choice in this divine window. This is not to burden you. It's to awaken you. Because your hesitation doesn't just delay your blessing, it delays someone else's freedom. There are angels waiting for your agreement. Not to hear you talk about destiny, but to step into it. And the moment you align, they move. Instantly. Precisely. Powerfully. As Jesus declared in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8 says, "I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." But the door must be walked through. Not just admired, not just discussed, not just prayed about. Entered. You are standing in front of one of those doors now. And here is your prophetic act. Comment the number 999 below. Not as a trend, not for attention, but as an agreement, because 999 is not just a number, it's a divine symbol. It means completion of one thing, birthing of another. It is God's way of saying, it's time. Boldly type 999 if your spirit says, this word was for me. This moment is mine. I choose obedience. I choose alignment. I choose surrender right now. Oh, when you type it, it's more than keystrokes, it's spiritual permission. You're letting heaven know, I won't delay. I won't resist. I say yes. The door is open. The angels are ready. The mercy is extended. But the next move is yours. Will you walk through? You are not forgotten in the crowd. Even when you were overlooked by people, heaven never lost sight of you. Even when you were passed over, misunderstood, dismissed, God still had your name on his breath. You were not hidden because you were unworthy. You were hidden because you were being prepared. For too long, you've wondered, why not me? You've watched others rise, be celebrated, promoted, platformed. You've clapped for them, even through your own tears. You've tried to stay grateful. You've tried to stay quiet. But deep down, a question echoed through your soul. When will it be my time? Heaven heard it. And heaven never shamed you for asking it. Because the ache you feel is not selfishness, it's spiritual readiness. The longing in your heart isn't ambition, it's alignment. You are not desperate for attention. You are desperate to fulfill the purpose God whispered over your life before you ever took a breath. And now the shift begins. This is the season where the hidden ones are being revealed. Those who were faithful in the shadows. Those who served without applause. Those who obeyed without a title. God is reaching into the back rows and pulling you forward, not because you demanded it, but because you were trusted with the waiting. He saw you. In the quiet. In the disappointment. In the moments you supported others while secretly wondering who would ever support you. He saw how you celebrated people even when your own heart was breaking. He saw how you carried burdens silently so no one else would have to feel them. You were the strong one. Even when you were falling apart. You were the light in the room. Even when darkness chased you back home. And heaven says, now, it's your turn. None. No more being passed by. No more false humility that confuses invisibility with holiness. God didn't call you to be invisible. He called you to be consecrated. He didn't ask you to shrink. He asked you to surrender. And because you did, He is exalting you. In due time, there is no accident in the timing. There is no randomness in your release. God is strategic. He knows when to hide and when to highlight. And the same hand that shielded you is now pushing you forward. You are being crowned in the open because you were faithful in the secret. This isn't about fame. This is about fulfillment. The people God is raising in this hour are not chasing stages. They are carrying assignments. And you are one of them. You carry words that break chains. You carry light that disrupts darkness. You carry authority that wasn't given by man's. It cannot be taken by man. The world may not know your name, but hell does, and heaven does. And that's why the enemy fought so hard to keep you hidden, not to protect you, but to bury you. He hoped you'd stay discouraged. He hoped your silence would turn into surrender. He hoped the delay would break your spirit. But what he didn't expect was that the delay would build you. You're not the same person you were a year ago, even 6 months ago. The silence has sharpened your hearing. The waiting has matured your discernment. The rejection has purified your motives. You're not rising out of frustration, you're rising out of formation. And because of that, the way God reveals, you will not be shallow. It won't be rushed. It won't be unstable. You're not stepping into just any space. You're stepping into prepared places. Places. Your name has already been spoken. Rooms. Your spirit has already entered in prayer. Territories where your obedience has already made space for you. You're not just walking into opportunity, you're walking into prophecy. But hear this, God didn't forget you in the crowd because He was ignoring you. He left you there so that when He did bring you out, no one could say it was manipulation. No one could say it was politics. No one could say it was personality. Only one explanation will remain. God did it. Heaven marked your moment. And now, it's unfolding. You don't need to fight for position. You don't need to prove your value. You don't need to chase platforms or scramble for connections. You only need to keep doing what you've already been doing, obeying in silence, believing when it hurts, loving without reward, worshipping with no audience, trusting when it makes no sense. That's what set you apart. That's what heaven honored. And that's what positioned you for what's coming next. You're not being elevated because you're loud. You're being elevated because you're loyal. Loyal in storms. Loyal in hiding. Loyal when no one clapped. And loyal when no one saw. And now, God is saying, step out from the shadows. The season of silence has expired. You've been faithful over little now. I'm about to make you ruler over much. No, this isn't just your turn. This is your time. Not because you earned it, but because you endured. Chosen one. There is something you must understand now. Angels respond to obedience, not emotion, not intensity, not desperation. Obedience. You can cry and feel nothing shift. You can pray with passion and still see delay. But the moment you act on what God has already told you, the atmosphere begins to respond. Heaven moves when your life moves into agreement. That is the power of obedience. It activates the unseen. It's not that God didn't hear you before. He did. It's not that angels weren't near. They were. But there is a realm of release that only opens when your actions match your calling. When your posture says, Yes, Lord, without conditions. Many people are passionate but stagnant. They worship loudly, but walk in disobedience quietly. They speak faith with their lips, but live doubt with their choices. And the heavens remain still, not because God is unwilling, but because the heart is unaligned. God is not moved by performance. He is moved by posture. When your will submits to His, something opens in the spirit. A clearing, a current, a pathway for angelic forces to descend with precision. Obedience is not about understanding. It's about trusting, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's unclear, even when it costs everything. Because heaven does not wait for your emotions to catch, it waits for your surrender to show up. And the angels, they don't move because you're tired. They move because you're obedient. They don't respond to panic. They respond to alignment. This is why you've felt the pressure increasing. This is why the spiritual intensity around your life has deepened. It's not because God is distant, it's because something divine is waiting for your yes. Your next level isn't locked behind talent. It's locked behind trust. And your trust is revealed in your actions. Consider this. Abraham didn't receive the ram until he raised the knife. Peter didn't witness the miracle catch until he lowered the net. The provision was already there. It was just waiting on movement. It's the same with you. What you're praying for isn't far. It's just waiting for obedience to unlock it. The angels are stationed. The path is prepared. The moment is marked. But the command must be answered. Heaven's instructions are often simple, but not easy, because they require faith, radical, obedient, unapologetic faith. God is not calling you to do what's logical. He's calling you to do what's aligned. That may mean letting go of something that feels safe. That may mean stepping out before you see the full picture. That may mean saying yes, while everything in you screams, not yet. No, but obedience isn't about comfort. It's about cooperation with the King. And your obedience is not just for you. There are lives attached to your surrender. There are territories that cannot be touched until your foot steps forward. There are angelic assignments that have been held back, not because God said no, but because He's waiting for your agreement. He will not override your free will, but He will surround your obedience with glory. You've been standing in the hallway between instruction and obedience, and the longer you stay there, the heavier it feels. That's not punishment, it's pressure from the promise. The promise wants to break through, but promises can't dwell in places of hesitation. Heaven is calling for movement. That movement doesn't need to be dramatic. Sometimes it looks like a quiet yes in your spirit. Sometimes it looks like shutting a door God never opened. Sometimes it looks like forgiving, releasing, walking away, or walking toward. Whatever it is, it's holy, because what God asks you to do, even when it seems small, as éternelle conséquence. You may not see the shift at first, but in the unseen realm, chains are breaking, doors are unlocking, angels are moving. As we read in Psalm 103, verse 20, "Bless the Lord, ye His angels, that excel in strength, that do His commandments, hearkening unto the voice of His word." And that's the secret. Angels move when the word is spoken and when the one carrying the word acts in agreement. You are not stuck. You are standing on the edge of a shift. You are not waiting on a miracle. Your miracle is waiting on your move. You are not abandoned. Angels are at attention, waiting on your yes. So release the delay. Release the doubt. Release the fear that says, what if it doesn't work? Your obedience is not a gamble. It's a guarantee, because God never fails to meet the surrendered with supernatural backing. Obey, even trembling. Move, even unsure. Say yes, even with shaking hands. And watch what happens in the Spirit. Because obedience doesn't just invite angels, it unleashes them. The enemy knows what's coming. He doesn't know every detail, but he senses it in the spirit realm. He feels the tremors of your obedience shaking the ground beneath his lies. That's why the pressure intensified. That's why the warfare has been relentless. Because the page is turning, and hell knows it can't stop the story. So it tries to break the pen, but the pen is still in your hand. What you're experiencing right now is not just fatigue. It's not just discouragement. It's a last-ditch effort to make you forfeit what's already written. The enemy can't cancel God's plan. So he tries to convince you to walk away from it. He whispers lies. You're behind. Oh, you missed your chance. Oh, you'll never recover. Oh, God is disappointed in you. Oh, lies. All of them. He fears your next decision. He fears your next yes. He fears the moment you remember who you are, whose you are, and what heaven has spoken over your life. Because the moment you agree with truth instead of torment, you break his influence. You've probably noticed it. The battles have become more personal, more internal, less about circumstances and more about your identity. That's not by accident. The enemy doesn't waste time attacking what isn't dangerous. He targets what threatens his grip. And you, chosen one, are dangerous. Your presence alone disrupts demonic patterns. You carry light in your lungs. You don't even have to speak for the spiritual realm to feel the shift you bring. The weight you carry is not because you're burdened, it's because you're anointed. And the enemy knows time is short. So he launches the final disperate tactic, discouragement. If he can't defeat you through attack, he tries to wear you down until you quit, until you silence yourself, until you begin to believe that maybe, just maybe, God skipped over you. But here is the truth. God never left, and he never changed his mind. The promise still stands. The calling still rests on your life. The oil is still flowing. The angels are still in position. Nothing about your purpose has expired. What's under attack is your awareness of it. Because if the enemy can cloud your vision, he can delay your movement. That's why lately, it feels like you've been in a fog heaviness, confusion, mental warfare, sudden waves of sadness or apathy. These are not just emotions. These are targeted attempts to shut down your fire. But they will not work. Because even now, even in your weakness, even in your doubt, God is closer than your breath. He's not waiting for you to be strong. He's waiting for you to surrender. He's not expecting perfection. He's after your presence. He wants your heart open again. This is not the end. It's the pivot point. You're standing at a divine crossroads, sand. This moment matters more than you know. The enemy knows, if you rise now, he's lost you for good. So what does he do? He throws one more lie. It's too late. I'm on. But God says, I make all things new. I'm on. The truth is, your obedience now can redeem years. One moment of alignment can overturn a decade of delay. Because God is not bound by time. He's bound by covenant. and he made one with you. Heaven has not given up on you. Heaven is not waiting for someone better. Heaven has already decided you are the one. You may feel weary, but you're not disqualified. You may feel late, but you're right on time. You may feel alone, but you're surrounded. The enemy is terrified that you'll wake up and believe again, that you'll hope again, that you'll pray again, that you'll speak the truth again, that you'll walk in power again, because when you do, has nothing left to use. That's why you need to interrupt the darkness now. Don't just sit in silence. Say something. Declare something. Even if it's just a few words. Comment, "I will rise." Or, "That's more than a sentence. It's a sword." When you type it, you're doing more than responding to a message. You're overthrowing silence. You're telling the enemy, "You didn't win." You're telling your past, "You don't own me." You're telling heaven, "I'm still here and I choose to rise." Or, because it's time, not to rise with pride, but with purpose, not with performance, but with presence, not to impress, but to obey, not to be seen, but to be positioned. Every storm you've endured brought you here. Every delay trained your discernment. Every tear watered the ground you're about to rise from. You don't need another sign. This is it. You don't need another word. This is the word. You don't need another confirmation. This is confirmation. The enemy tried one final time to silence you, but heaven has already decided you will rise, and nothing in hell can stop it. This is not coincidence. This is a divine deployment order. What you're experiencing right now is not just encouragement, is activation. Heaven is not casually observing your life. Heaven is invested in your next move. The angels are not standing by passively, they are standing ready, awaiting a signal from your obedience to engage. God is not stirring your spirit just to make you feel something. He's stirring your spirit because the moment of movement has come. Chosen one. This is a divine alignment in motion. The angels you've heard whispered about since childhood, the ones you've prayed to be protected by, the ones the Bible speaks of with fire in their eyes and swords in their hands, they are not just legends. They are real, and they are here, not floating somewhere far off in the cosmos. Here, with you, for you, deployed by heaven's command, dispatched to fulfill divine strategy in your life. They are not coming because you're special in the eyes of man. They're coming because you are chosen by the mouth of God. There is a level of divine protection surrounding you now that wasn't present before, not because God loves you more now, but because you've entered a new stage of your assignment. You're not in the waiting room anymore. You're in the launch zone. The whispers in your spirit, the shift in your sleep, the growing sense that something big is near, it's all real. It's all heaven's way of telling you, we are with you now more than ever. Get ready. Stay alert. Obey quickly. And because God is not only speaking, He is moving. Your obedience is more than personal, it is prophetic. When you follow divine instruction, you don't just bless your own life, you advance kingdom agendas. You change atmospheres. You break spiritual strongholds in places you don't even realize. Angels are watching for your response. Every time you obey, heaven moves. Every time you surrender, angels shift position. Every time you say yes, even when it costs you, God releases backup. There are certain angelic forces that only activate through alignment. They don't move because you want them to. They move because God sends them in response to purpose, obeyed, and purpose is calling now, loudly, clearly. You may be asking, but how do I know it's time? Here's how. The battle intensified. The pull got stronger. The cost got heavier. That's how you know, because the closer you get to the release of destiny, the more hell panics. That panic looks like confusion, distraction, temptation, fatigue, doors closing, relationships shifting. All of it is a smokescreen sent to keep your eyes off the strategy heaven is unfolding. But not this time. This time, you're not going to miss it. This time, your ears are open. Your heart is aligned. Your spirit is positioned. You've been prepared through pain, trained through trial, and refined in silence. Now heaven is saying, move. Not with fear, not with overthinking. Move with clarity, with confidence, with conviction. You are not stepping out alone. You are stepping out accompanied by angelic power that exceeds human understanding. You are surrounded. You are supported. And you are being sent. You're not being sent to fit in. You're being sent to shift things, to open what's been locked, to speak what's been silenced, to destroy what's been hidden. You are a divine interruption in every room you enter, and the angels are assigned to make sure nothing stops you. That's why this message reached you. That's why you didn't scroll past. That's why you're still reading. Because this is not entertainment. It is engagement with the prophetic timeline of your life. And when God sends something like this to your doorstep, it's not for consumption. It's for commissioning. So don't sit still. Don't keep it to yourself. Like this word not for vanity, but to push it into someone else's feed who's barely holding on. Share it because someone else is in a silent war. And this might be their confirmation. Subscribe so that every word from heaven meant for you reaches you without delay. This is not just about staying informed, it's about staying aligned. We are building something here. A community of the set apart, the awakened, the battle-tested, the surrendered. And we are not alone. We are surrounded by a host of heaven. Let others find what you've found. Let those who've been silenced hear what you've heard. Let those who've been ignored know that God still sees them. Your obedience is part of a movement that is bigger than you. And when the chosen ones respond, the hosts of heaven are loosed into the earth. This is not a drill. This is a deployment. Chosen one. You are being sent and angels are going before you. There are moments in life when delay is dangerous, not because God has stopped moving, but because your window to respond is narrowing. What you're standing in now is not an endless invitation, it is a divine appointment. And appointments have timing. They are marked, sealed, and assigned. And if you don't step in, you risk stepping out of what was meant for you. This is one of those moments. God has been patient with you. He has waited, repeated messages, confirmed things in whispers, dreams, even strangus. And still, you hesitated, out of fear, out of doubt, out of waiting for a better moment. But, chosen one, this is the moment. The mercy you're standing in isn't weakness, it's strategy. God doesn't rush, but He does release. And when the door opens, it eventually closes. The window of grace that you feel pressing on your heart right now is real. It's not emotional pressure, it's heaven's clock ticking. This isn't fear-based theology. This is spiritual reality. There are moments when obedience must be immediate or opportunities are missed, not because God is cruel, but because certain alignments require precision. God's timing is not casual, it is calculated. You've been asking for change, for clarity, for something to finally break open. But change doesn't come without obedience. Breakthrough doesn't come without movement. And clarity doesn't come without trust. This is a holy crossroad. And lingering too long could mean missing it. Let's be clear. God still loves you if you wait. But some doors, once shut, don't open the same way again. They're not gone forever, but they come with different costs, different consequences. What God wants for you is not just survival, it's alignment, it's purpose. It's a future that flows in sync with what He designed before you were even born. But timing matters. There's a reason you feel the weight right now. Why everything feels like it's culminating. Why the usual distractions aren't satisfying. Why your heart is unsettled. Why peace feels out of reach. It's not because something is wrong, it's because something is being revealed. God is pulling back the curtain. He's showing you what's at stake, not to scare you, but to awaken you. You are standing on holy ground, and indecision cannot walk with destiny. There is a threshold between favor and fallout, between calling and confusion, between the door you're meant to walk through and the one the enemy wants you to miss. It's not about being perfect. It's about being responsive. The Holy Spirit is not looking for your perfection. He's looking for your participation. He's not asking for proof you've already been chosen. He's asking for your yes. Right now, what's required is not another prayer. It's a posture shift, a holy stillness, a surrender that sounds like, God, even if it costs me comfort, He'll follow. You cannot treat divine instruction like a suggestion. It is a lifeline, a risque rope, a strategy to pull you out of the cycle you've been circling for years. The truth is, if delay didn't matter, the devil wouldn't use it so much. But he does, because hesitation often robs people of what they were meant to carry. It blinds. It silences. It makes the chosen feel uncertain in moments when heaven is screaming, "Now is the time." Delayed obedience is still disobedience. And disobedience always comes with spiritual consequences, not as punishment, but as separation. It separates you from clarity, from peace, from the momentum you were meant to carry into your next. And yet, even now, God is still extending the invitation. The open door hasn't slammed shut, it's still swinging, even if only slightly. The window hasn't fully closed, but it is closing. You can feel it. The urgency, the pull, the pressure that's not external, but internal. That sense that you can't keep circling the same pattern, that if you don't say yes now, you might spend another year recovering from what should have been released in this moment. It's not that God is distant, it's that you're reaching a tipping point. And tipping points require decisions. You can't afford to procrastinate destiny. You can't afford to ignore the weight on your chest and call it anxiety when it's actually conviction. You can't call delay discernment when heaven has already spoken. This is not about rushing. It's about responding. Because response protects. When you respond, angels are released. When you respond, spiritual strongholds are dismantled. When you respond, momentum is restored. It's not about rushing into performance. It's about stepping into protection. Obedience doesn't always open more doors, but it closes the wrong ones. Some doors look right, but lead to delay. Some relationships feel right, but detour you from your next. Some opportunities seem divine, but drain your fire. And only obedience true, immediate, humble obedience will help you see the difference in time. God is not cruel. He is clear. He's telling you now, move, not to be busy, but to be aligned, not to earn His love, but to walk in His plan. This is your moment. The mercy is real, but it will not hover forever. What happens next isn't about God's ability, it's about your availability, and you have a choice to make. There are moments when heaven waits for earth to respond, not because God needs our permission, but because He honors alignment. And right now, heaven is watching for a sign, not from your mouth, but from your spirit, from your willingness to say, yes, I'm ready, not just with words, but with action. You are standing in a supernatural intersection. What happens next is not casual, it's covenantal. Something eternal is unfolding in this moment, and you can feel it in your chest. That pull, that pressure, that undeniable sense that this is more than a message, it's a summoning. That's the Spirit. You are not here by accident. Heaven has been orchestrating this moment long before your eyes saw it. This is not about emotion. This is activation. You've been asking for a sign, but you are the sign. You've been asking for a shift, but the shift is already happening in you. Now, heaven is waiting for your response. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because in the spirit realm, timing matters. Angels don't move on delay. They move on obedience. Breakthrough doesn't wait on comfort. It flows from surrender. And that surrender can begin in something as small as a number. Yes, a number. Not because numbers are magic, but because numbers are markers, prophetic signals. Heaven watches what you do when the Spirit prompts you. It watches not just the sound of your voice, but the posture of your soul when you respond with faith, even in small ways. It tells heaven, you're listening, you're aligned, you're awake, you're moving. Right now, this is your prophetic moment to respond. Type the number 999 in the comments. Why 999? Because in prophetic symbolism, 999 means completion and birthing. It means the old season is closing, and the new one is forming. It means what has been hidden is about to be revealed. It means what has been delayed is now released. When you type 999, you are saying, I let go of delay. I receive my deployment. I step into my next. You're not just commenting, you are agreeing. You are activating something in the spirit realm. You are declaring to angels, to darkness, to every principality that tried to confuse you, I am aligned. I am ready. I say yes. Chosen one. This is more than a number, it's an act of war. A silent declaration that hell cannot intercept. A signal that you have heard the voice of the Lord and you are responding. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to feel completely confident. You just have to say, God, I'm done waiting for perfect conditions. I'm ready now, because the door is still open. But it's not staying open forever. And when you step into this moment, when you say yes, when you mark it in time, even with a number, You give heaven permission to release what has been held up. You unlock what was stalled. You accelerate what was stuck. You open what others said would stay closed. Because your response is more powerful than their opinion. This isn't emotional hype. This is divine principle. Throughout Scripture, we see how small responses produced supernatural results. Moses raised his staff, and the sea split. Joshua shouted, and the walls collapsed. The woman with the issue of blood touched the hem, and healing flowed. Gideon obeyed, and the Midianites scattered. Peter stepped out and walked on water. One small movement, one simple yes, turned into history-making deliverance. None of them moved because it made sense. They moved because heaven spoke. And when heaven speaks, the obedient rise. Heaven moves at the sound of faith, at the gesture of surrender. And now, your moment to move is here. No more excuses. No more hesitation. No more telling yourself you need more clarity when you've already received confirmation. You're not behind. You're not disqualified. You're not forgotten. You are called. You are covered. You are chosen. Let this be the moment you draw the line in the sand. The moment you say, it ends here. I'm not circling the same battles anymore. I'm not waiting for permission. I'm stepping into position. Type 999. Right now. Let every voice of fear be silenced. Let every spiritual force of confusion lose its grip. Let the heavens see your response. Let the angels receive their release. Let this number be your agreement, your marker, your echo back to heavenese. I hear you, because this is not just a message, it's a moment. And the moment is now. Something sacred is being poured out right now, not earned, not bought, not performed for. A new oil, a fresh anointing that comes not through striving, but through surrender. You've walked through crushing. You've endured pressing. You've stood in fire that could have destroyed you. And now, heaven whispers one word: receive. This oil is not for the proud. It's not for the polished. It's for the surrendered, the ones who worshipped in secret, the ones who said yes when no one else was watching, the ones who whispered, God, even if you don't lift me, He'll still obey. You felt overlooked, but God never lost sight of your obedience. Oil doesn't fall by accident. It's the result of crushing. In ancient days, the only way to get pure oil was to press the olive completely. No pressing, no oil. And the deeper the crushing, the purer the flow. You, chosen one, didn't just survive your crushing, you were being prepared to carry what few ever will. That's why people couldn't understand your journey. That's why you couldn't explain your process. Because you weren't just enduring, you were being anointed. This oil will not make you famous. It will make you effective. It won't draw crowds. It will break chains. It won't be loud. It will be weighty. You'll walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere without trying. Speak softly, and heaven will echo. Not because of charisma, but because of authority. Real authority, born in the dark, birthed in fire, backed by heaven. Anointing is not style. Anointing is substance. It's the evidence of obedience. Fire and refinement, all poured into one surrendered life. It's when your presence carries the fragrance of heaven because your soul has been broken and rebuilt by God Himself. This is the oil now being released. And it's not just for your survival, it's for the healing of others. You are not only being filled, you are becoming a vessel of release. This oil is not just about you feeling better. It's about you carrying something that changes others. Not with effort, with presence. Your scars are sacred, and now they are oil-soaked. Your story has weight, not because it's dramatic, but because it's true. You lived what others only preach. You fought in silence and stayed surrendered when walking away felt easier. And that's why God can trust you with this oil. It's not for trendsetters. It's for torchbearers. For those who walk into dry places and bring rain. Those who don't need applause because they already have assignment. Those who don't chase platforms but carry presence. The oil is falling on you because you passed the test no one saw. You didn't quit when everything said you could. You didn't manipulate your way out of the wilderness. You didn't build a name, you protected a flame. And heaven has said, "This one I can trust." This oil will not make life easier, but it will make your purpose unshakable. You'll speak less and carry more. You'll need fewer words and release more power. Because oil doesn't shout its stains. It lingers, and it will set people free. Your hands will carry fire. Your voice will carry clarity. Your steps will carry the echoes of someone who has been with God. This oil will change generations. It will break chains in your family line. It will silence curses that have haunted your bloodline. It will open doors others never dared to knock on. Because this isn't a feeling, it's a filling. And this filling is reserved for the ones who didn't break when they could have. The ones who kept showing up, even with a limp. The ones who didn't need to be seen by man, because they were already seen by God. The oil is not a reward. It is a release. It is heaven saying, "You've been faithful in the dark. Now carry light into others' darkness." No, this anointing is for assignment. You've prayed for the fire. Now here comes the oil, and with it responsibility, clarity, and power. Not hype, not noise, but stillness that carries the weight of heaven. As it says in Psalm 23 verse 5, "You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows." Overflow is coming. Not the overflow of material things, but the overflow of peace, presence, vision, and divine rest. You are not being lifted for your glory. You are being anointed for His. Let the oil fall. Let it cover the tired places. Let it heal the parts of you no one else saw. Let it baptize your memory, your mind, your message. Because once the oil touches you, you will never be the same again. The oil has marked you, but the oil is not the end. It is the beginning. Now comes the walk, the sacred, set-apart journey where the weight of the anointing starts to shape your every step. This walk is not for crowds. It's for the consecrated, because carrying the presence of God is not casual. It demands distance from distraction. It demands discernment, not popularity. What rests on you now is costly, and you cannot afford to treat it like something common. There is fire in your footsteps now. Heaven sees it. Hell fears it. And earth needs it. The Spirit is calling you to walk differently now, not as someone begging for breakthrough, but as someone who is the breakthrough, not as someone hoping to be used, but as someone who has already been chosen. Everything shifts when you understand what you carry. You can't go back to the conversations that drain your spirit. You can't return to the old patterns that numbed your calling. You can't linger where your oil isn't honored, because you are no longer who you were. This is not ego. This is clarity. This is what it looks like when heaven reclaims a vessel and begins to direct every detail. The oil has awakened your steps, and now you must move as one who is on divine assignment. Don't be surprised when people don't understand you in this season. Your spirit has shifted dimensions, but they're still speaking from the last version of you. Don't try to explain this oil to those who have never walked through fire. You don't owe anyone proof of your process. Just walk it out. That's what Jesus did. After the wilderness, he returned in the power of the Spirit. No grand announcements, no explanations, just movement, purposeful, precise, unstoppable movement. You are being called into that same rhythmone that flows from intimacy, not impulse, that walks quietly but releases thunder in the spirit. That doesn't chase platforms, but alters atmospheres. That doesn't wait for validation, because it's already been authorized by heaven. You must protect this walk. The enemy cannot steal your anointing. So, he'll try to distract your direction. He'll send confusion dressed as opportunity. He'll stir old wounds and familiar voices, not because they're powerful, but because they're familiar, and familiarity, if left unchecked, becomes the enemy of advancement. You are in a sacred shift, and sacred shifts require sacred focus. There's a reason Jesus often withdrew from the crowds. There's a reason he told healed people not to speak yet. There's a reason he moved in silence until the appointed time. Power doesn't always look loud. It looks obedient, and obedience is now your compass. This isn't the time to imitate others. This isn't the time to perform. This is the time to be led by the Spirit, not by pressure, not by people, not by your own plans. Your future is already mapped. Your steps are already written. Your job now is to stay so close to God's breath that when He whispers left, you turn before the world notices. This walk will cost you things. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you convenience. It will cost you clinging to what once felt safe. But what you receive in return is beyond what your imagination can grasp. Peace that doesn't make sense. Authority that doesn't need to be announced. Encounters with God that mark you more than any man ever could. And yes, warfare will come. But now, you don't walk into warfare alone. The oil on your life draws angels to your side. The fire within you causes demons to tremble. You won't always feel strong. But heaven will fight for you, even when you don't realize it. Because the one who walks with God never walks alone. You will walk through rooms you never expected. You will say things you didn't prepare for. You will see signs that confirm what your spirit already knows. And you won't even need to defend yourself. The oil will speak. The fruit will remain. The presence will testify. Your walk is not just personal, it's prophetic. Every step you take now alters something in the spirit realm. Your presence unsettles what has been sitting in darkness for too long. Your posture convicts those still asleep. Your hunger exposes apathy. You are no longer walking as a survivor. You are walking as a sent one. So take the steps, even if they feel small, even if no one claps, even if you have to walk alone. You're not walking to prove anything. You're walking because you've already been proven. Heaven is in motion. The angels are deployed. The oil is poured. The time is now. Just walk. Walk in holiness. Walk in reverence. Walk in silence if you must, but do not stop. This walk is shaping you into the vessel God saw before the world ever named you. And every step is writing history seen and unseen. By now, the veil is thin. You can feel it. Your heart beats different. Your eyes see clearer. Your atmosphere is shifting because you are shifting. This is not just a series of words. This is a divine summons. Every word until now has been heaven's way of saying, you were never meant to live beneath your calling. Oh no, chosen one. This is your commissioning. The walk has begun. The oil is resting. The angels are deployed. And now, the Spirit says, multiply it, carry it, release it. What rests on your life is not just for your benefit. It is for the world you've been assigned to. There are people whose chains are tied to your breakthrough. There are households whose curses will break the moment you speak. There are dark corners waiting to be lit by the fire you now carry. This is not the time to retreat. This is the time to rise and release. What God placed in you was never meant to be buried in isolation. You are not a secret. You are a signal, a firebrand, a voice, a carrier of glory in a world addicted to shadows. So now the question becomes, will you release what you've received? You've walked through crushing, refinement, consecration, and now your voice must be heard. Not for attention, but for assignment. Speak what God gives you. Move when He nudges you. Write, sing, create, lead, correct, confront, build. Whatever He asks, do it. And don't delay. Don't second-guess your authority. You are not a second choice. You are not a replacement. You are the one heaven selected for this time, this generation, this territory. It says in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14 says, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. You were never meant to be hidden. And now that the oil has marked you, the enemy will try to convince you to stay small. But smallness is no longer an option. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just walk in it. Let your life preach louder than your voice. Let your posture speak where your presence goes. Let the power of God on your life disrupt every room without performance. But don't let it stop here. Like this word, if something in your spirit was confirmed today, don't just scroll past what heaven designed to find you. This moment is for you, but it may also be for someone who is one click away from giving up. Share this message with someone you know is walking through the fire, someone who's been called but feels forgotten. You don't know what a single act of obedience can unlock in someone else's life. Subscribe if you haven't yet. There are more words coming, fresh manna, divine timing, heaven's whisper through digital vessels. This is more than content. This is calling. Stay connected. Stay aligned. And finally, comment your response. We've walked through silence. We've walked through surrender. Now it's time to declare. Heaven has spoken. The oil has fallen. The commissioning has been made clear. Comment, I receive my assignment. In Senate, not to impress, to agree. Every time a chosen one declares it, something shifts. The veil tears a little more. The atmosphere aligns a little faster. The angels assigned to your voice respond to bold obedience. When you type those words, you're not just engaging a post, you're engaging your calling. This is where transformation turns into momentum. The Spirit is building something here. A generation of the set apart, a rising remnant, a people not impressed by lights, but drawn to truth, a people who know how to walk in both fire and favor. That's what you're part of now. And heaven is watching how you handle what's been placed in your hands. Don't bury it. Don't downplay it. Don't apologize for it. You were made to carry glory. And now that you've said yes finally, fearlessly, you will walk with a power that makes hell nervous and heaven proud. So, rise. Let your light speak louder than your insecurity. Let your obedience quiet every lie. Let your identity anchor you in rooms where others compromise. You were made for more than just surviving. You were made for leading, for building, for breaking chains, for speaking truth, for releasing light. The days of silence are over. The season of hiddenness has shifted. The angels are not hovering, they are moving with you now. This moment was never about hype. It was always about holy fire. So now, what will you do with what you carry? Let the world see the one who called you. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and most of all, walk boldly into the places that once intimidated you, because now, they won't just see you, they'll see the God who sent you. You are walking now not by sight, but by revelation. The old map no longer works because you are no longer walking in familiar terrain. This is holy ground. This is the territory of the called, where every step is directed not by logic, but by the voice of God. And in this place, the rules have changed. No more begging for doors to open. Now you carry keys. No more waiting to be chosen. Now you walk as one who is chosen. The shift may feel disorienting at first. When you've lived so long under spiritual resistance, the weight of peace can feel foreign. But don't confuse calm with absence. This silence is sacred. It's the stillness of heaven watching a chosen one step fully into alignment. You've been trained for this in ways no one saw. You didn't just study the word. You lived it. You didn't just pray fire. You walked through it. You didn't just say yes once. You kept saying yes, even while bleeding, even when it didn't make sense. That's what set you apart. And now, because of that hidden obedience, you're standing in a place most never reach. Spiritual authority born through surrender. This authority doesn't come through influence. It comes through intimacy. God didn't raise you for applause. He raised you for impact. And impact happens in rooms where people may never know your name, but they feel something change when you speak, when you move, when you pray. That's because your words are no longer just yours. They carry echo, heaven's echo. Don't be surprised when things start happening quickly. What took others years will open in days, not because you're better, but because you're walking in acceleration reserved for the aligned. Heaven is moving in real time now. Assignments are shifting. New territory is being marked. Old patterns are breaking under your feet. Things that once intimidated, you will now move aside as you pass, because authority walks differently. It doesn't plead. It carries presence. You are not the same person you were last year, not even last month. Something irreversible has happened inside of you. You've been sealed, set apart, and spiritually recoded. You now carry a heavenly mandate to walk, to speak, to live as one who carries the light of God into dark places. You were not delivered from all that pain just to return to silence. You were healed so you could heal. You were set free so you could unlock others. You were refined so you could be trusted with greater weight. The fear that once ruled your steps has been replaced. You don't move with anxiety anymore. You move with assignment. And wherever there's assignment, there's angelic reinforcement. The angelic guard around your life has increased. You may not always see them, but you'll start feeling the difference. Protection in situations that used to drain you. Strength in moments that once paralyzed you. Clear direction where confusion used to live. It's not just maturity, it's movement. Spiritual, divine, heavenly movement that responds to the obedience of the chosen. And now that you're in it, you must steward it. Don't go back to old rhythms. Don't downplay what God has placed on you. Don't water down the fire you carry to make others comfortable. This is not the time to blend in. This is the time to blaze trails. God didn't bring you this far to make you normal. He brought you here to make you holy, and holiness carries a fragrance this world cannot imitate. You've become a disruption to darkness now. That's why certain people don't respond to you the same. That's why some places feel tight or off when you walk in. The light on you now confronts what's been dormant or hidden in others. But don't shrink because of that. Don't apologize for it. You are not arrogant. You are anointed. Anointed to see what others ignore, to feel what others suppress, to say what others are afraid to say. And you don't walk alone. The oil walks with you. The fire walks with you. The word walks with you. The presence walks with you. You will start hearing more in prayer, feeling more in worship, knowing more without needing explanation. That's not intuition. That's the Spirit sharpening your discernment. Because your life is no longer about simply getting by. It's about governing. You've been given keys. And keys aren't for decoration, they're for access. God is going to begin unlocking places through you. Rooms where healing will come through simple conversation. Environments where clarity will fall like rain. Not because you forced it, but because you showed up with heaven's assignment already pulsing through your soul. This is what you were born for. Not survival. Stewardship. Not applause. Assignment. Heaven is not observing from a distance anymore. Heaven is now co-laboring with you. You're moving in step with divine timing, and every obedient step you take shakes the ground beneath you. Something has shifted, permanently, and from this moment on, there is no turning back. The shift is complete. What once seemed far off has now become your foundation. You are not hoping to step into it, you are in it. The new has begun, not through a dramatic explosion, but through the quiet, undeniable reality that you are no longer who you were. What rests on your life now is not potential, it is purpose, fulfilled in motion. The questions that used to paralyze you no longer carry weight. The doubts that once echoed loudly have lost their voice, because once a chosen one walks through the fire, receives the oil, and obeys the assignment, there's no going back. This is your new normal. Clarity in the spirit, boldness in your posture, peace that doesn't depend on outcomes. And it all began not with a spotlight, but with a quiet yes. A whispered surrender. A moment behind closed doors when your heart broke open before God and said, "Whatever you ask, I will follow." That moment, that yes became the sound heaven responded to. It wasn't your ability, it was your availability. And now, everything about you carries a different resonance. Your words are sharper, your silence is heavier. Your presence unsettles what is false, because truth lives inside you. And truth cannot be silenced. Not anymore. You've become a carrier of divine consequence. Where you walk, things shift, not by your hand, but by what rests upon you. This isn't about charisma. It's not about gifting, it's about alignment. You walk with God, now not just in name, but in nature. The fear of man has lost its grip. You no longer bend to fit in places that dishonor your assignment. You no longer shrink for the sake of comfort. You are not here to make sense to everyone. You are here to obey. One voice. Chosen one. You are dangerous now. Dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Dangerous to cycles of generational silence. Dangerous to every lie spoken over your life. Because a believer who fully surrenders becomes an unstoppable force, not because of their strength, but because they've emptied themselves of everything else. And now, God has filled every corner. There is no room left for compromise. This is where power lives, not in pride, not in perfection, but in purity, the kind that says, I want nothing more than to please Him. And that desire, that devotion, has triggered something in the heavens. You will start to notice acceleration. The things that once felt hard will suddenly begin to yield. The land that once resisted you will now open, not because you changed it, but because you changed. This is what happens when a soul is fully yielded. God begins to trust you with things you didn't ask for. Influence you didn't chase. Encounters you didn't schedule. Favor that others can't explain. Because favor follows obedience like a shadow follows light. And you, chosen one, have stepped into the light. But remember, this is not a destination. This is a commissioned life. A walking, breathing assignment. You don't just carry the word, you've become the word made visible. You live the message. You don't preach deliverance, you embody it. You don't talk revival, you spark it by standing in rooms with open hands and a willing heart. The angels that surround you now aren't just guarding you, are partnering with them. Every time you step into a new space in obedience, their assignments activate. What they carry, you release. What heaven plans, you fulfill. It is no longer you asking, God, are you with me? It is now heaven declaring, they are with us. Oh, there's no more striving. You've found the rhythm, the sacred cadence of the Spirit. And now you walk in sync, no longer behind, no longer ahead, in time, in step, in peace. People may still misunderstand you, but it won't shake you. You'll bless them anyway. You'll walk anyway. You'll speak anyway. Because your identity is not rooted in reaction, it's rooted in revelation. This is legacy building season. Every word you speak now has ripple effect. Every step you take is writing lineage in the Spirit. Your children, spiritual and natural, will walk on paths you paid for in prayer. They will drink from wells you dug in tears. And they will rise not because of chance, but because you chose obedience when it cost you everything. You've become what the enemy feared you would discover. Who you truly are. The called, the crowned, the refined, the relentless, the one who didn't quit, the one who stood back up, the one who kept worshipping even when they didn't understand. And heaven has written your name not just in the Lamb's book of life, but in the battle plans of this hour. You are no longer waiting for revival. You are walking as revival. So walk forward, not with pride, but with fire. Your voice is needed. Your obedience is weighty. Your anointing is active. You are not the same. You are the chosen one. Chosen one. If you've made it this far, it's not by chance, it's by divine design. Heaven has been speaking, and your spirit responded, This wasn't just a message, it was a mandate. And now, the fire that's been reignited in you isn't meant to stay contained. It's meant to spread. If something in your heart shifted today, if the fire stirred deeper, if the voice of God became clearer, don't keep this to yourself. Like this message not for numbers, but as a witness, as a digital amen. End of 5. Share it with someone who needs deliverance, direction, or a divine reminder. You never know who's one click away from breakthrough. Comment below what this message awakened in you. Speak it out. Seal it with declaration. Speak boldly what God whispered quietly. And if you haven't already, subscribe. This isn't just a channel. It's a movement of the set apart, the refined, the anointed. You belong here. Stay connected to the frequency of heaven. If you feel led, you can also sow into the message. Your giving helps expand this work and bring light into even darker corners. There's no pressure, only invitation. When you sow into a word that speaks to your soul, you partner with heaven in making sure it reaches more souls. But above all, walk boldly, live surrender, and never forget, you are chosen, you are covered, and the angels are deployed for you now.